Hey guys, Brickset here, and today I will be reviewing Ninjago City Gardens. As you can see, this thing is absolutely massive, so strap in, this is going to be a long video. Okay, now we're going to take a closer look at everything that's in here in a lot more detail. Alright, so this set is absolutely massive. I have it on top of my bookshelf there, but the ice dragon wing is in the way, but there's a lot of really awesome stuff here. Of course, you get the golden Woo and his little stand. We'll take a closer look at all the minifigures at the end. And then you have sort of the main corner section here, and then this little temple island area actually breaks off. It's on a separate base plate. So it sort of acts as a separate module. A little bit higher up on this side, there are two balconies. These are also removable, which is nice because if you connect either Ninjago City or Ninjago City docks to this side, then these will interfere. So they give you the option to remove them pretty easily. But you can just see how absolutely massive and gorgeous this is. You have this tree sort of running up between these two levels, and just so many different buildings all around. And I mean, even the backside is pretty detailed. Like, for being a backside, this is an incredible amount of detail. So that's really awesome. And yeah, we'll jump right in here and take a look at this first floor. So here on the first floor, we have a couple of things. We have this little bench right here in front of the tree, and that's actually built up using some pretty interesting techniques to get it on that 45-degree angle there. And yeah, the tree looks really good. There's a lot of variety in the pieces, and you got sort of these roots that go in crazy directions, and you can sort of reposition those as you see fit. But yeah. Then we got some minifigures here, but again, we'll cover those later. You got a pink frog here. These were also in the bonsai tree that came out around the same time, but here you only get one instead of a million in that set. Right here is Ronin's shop. This could be sort of his shop from the City of Styx, but he also has a shop in Ninjago City, so this is kind of a hybrid of the two, and there's a lot of references in that one, actually. Then we have this little, they called it a soup kitchen in the designer video. It's kind of the least interesting, I guess, of all of the different rooms, which it's still very detailed. It's just like kind of the least happening, interestingly enough. Out in front here in the water, we have a little garden island with a nice little tree, and then these two sort of structures that kind of serve to just hide the Technic modular pinholes. Up here is the Ninjago fan apartment. We'll take a look at that, and then here is a little tea room, tea area. Moving up here, you'll notice there's a little bird in a nest on the tree, and yeah, I guess the only thing left to do is to kind of remove everything above it, and then we will take a look at everything in more detail. So here in the old world, you can see everything again. So inside the soup kitchen, we got one door leading into it over here. And there's actually another door that has a little bit of a balcony looking over the water out here. And inside you'll see there's a lot of sort of details. We have a sink, and there's some stuff up on shelves all around. And then out front here, you can see there's a bowl, and then there's a pot there. And that's actually one thing that's pretty interesting about a lot of the buildings in this set, is they're sort of angled like this. So this wall is shorter than this wall, and they are connected via sort of, you can sort of see it. There's a hinge piece right here. So this wall, it's sort of a trapezoid look. And you'll see that on a lot of the buildings. You can see the little table there, as well as there's a little menu, it looks like. And kind of moving around, there's another sign here. This sign says food in jargon. Pretty spot on there. And yeah, I like this little table here, using this piece in teal. That looks pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, it's a very minor building when all is considered, but I think it does a very successful job of sort of being another nice addition to Ninjago City. The soup kitchen is removable off of the main sort of base of the base plate, and there's a little pipe here that is sort of leading to the little sewer gate right here, which does use a power blast piece to represent water coming out of it, which is a really nice part usage there. Directly above that building is the Ninjago fan apartment, and yeah, again, you can kind of see more clearly the angled technique that they're using on all of these. And this looks really nice. You got a sticker here that says Ninjago, and yeah, the roof back here is using those like 1x3 jumpers, but like they're upside down to get that really nice texture. Inside the room, you'll see a couple of things. This right here is a replica of Keeper's Village, which is an upcoming season 14 set. And then right here, these represent Catamaran Sea Battle, another upcoming season 14 set. So it's really cool to get those references in there. On the opposite wall, there's a nice Visit Ninjago City poster, and taking that off, you can see it more clearly. Now this is actually pretty cool because I have one of these posters hanging up above my Ninjago City. They were given away at like Lego stores sort of to promote the movie back in 2017. Although I would have liked if this was on a tan 2x4 because the original poster was tan instead of white. But other than that, though, it's super accurate, and I love that that poster now exists in Lego form as well. There's also a white micro figure right there, and I'm guessing that's probably supposed to be Zane, just based on the fact that it's white. There's a little lamp right here, and yeah, there's some more stuff stacked up above here, but it's just cheese slopes and things. You can also see a little roller skate down here, which I believe is supposed to be the X1 Ninja Charger, which they just did a legacy set of that as well. There's some nice curtains by the window, and this bed actually comes up, though it's really hard to do once you build up the walls. So I'm actually going to sort of take this off, which is not really like a feature. It's not really intentional, but under the bed you see that they have a weapon there, which is a little bit suspicious, but it's a nice little detail. Putting this all together, yeah, it looks really, really cool, but it's almost hard to sort of interact with the details and see them all, which is something you will see throughout this whole set. It's kind of a limitation of just the size in general. Like it looks really good, but then you build up the walls and it's really difficult to get your hands in there. So I guess appreciate the detail while you're building it. Putting this back on, you get these black pieces here to sort of help you line it up, and this actually overhangs to become flush with the edge of the base plate here, which is pretty cool. And you'll see kind of how that window looks in there and from the back as well. Moving on over to this side, there's this pillar here, which is really, really nice. There's some trans pink pieces inside, so it sort of looks like it's shining. And yeah, there's like these really interesting new pieces here, which almost look like heads of some creature. And this up here is just to help the upper stuff support. But yeah, this is a really, really nice column. There's a lot of interesting building techniques happening to make all the math work out, which I appreciate. On top here, we have sort of a little tea room, and this is open on two sides, which I think is fine. There's this really nice window right here that I haven't seen before, but kind of reminds me of the big wheel that they use on Ninjago City docks for that one window. You have some paint rollers here for, I guess, gutters. And yeah, just some nice texture all the way around. Inside, you can see some teapots and teacups. And on the back there, you'll see that there's a little micro figure and then some prints around him. Now, this kind of reminds me of the original sort of map scene from the pilots when Wu is sort of giving the backstory about Ninjago. Long before time had a name, Ninjago was created by the first Spinjitzu master, yada, yada, yada. Now, there are Ninjago characters on here, but they don't really say anything. That right there is MR, I guess Mr. But then down here, it's KWS. So, doesn't really spell anything and they don't line up. So I'm not sure if those are just supposed to be sort of random characters and maybe they're not really supposed to spell anything, or those are initials of people who maybe have worked on the show or the set or something. And then you get this corner door here, which is pretty nice, though it's hard to open, and inside there's just one plant and no floor because it's built on a weird angle and they couldn't really do that, which is fine. But yeah, this is a really nice little area. Underneath that little T area, we have what's probably this show stealer of the old world, the first level here, and that is Ronan's shop. So looking in here, this backside is completely exposed, which is interesting, but I guess it does allow you to show off a lot of the Easter eggs that are in this building a little bit better. Taking it off of the base plate here, you do see a little bit better. There's sort of the like party hats for the lights here, and there's a little sort of counter out front. This is sort of Ronan's logo that he has on his shop in Ninjago City in Season 7, so that's a pretty nice reference, and you can see sort of how that all works out. On the back there's the door. I could not for the life of me figure out what this says, so I'm not sure if that is actually Ninjago or not. It's very stylized, but there's also another Ronin logo on there as well. There's also one right here, which is almost impossible to see, but it's there. You have a trident right there, and there's a little scale here. And then down here you actually have the blade cup from the Royal Blacksmiths. And that's pretty awesome. There's a little map of the Dark Island right there, and a disguise, and a ladder to actually get upstairs. And I'm now realizing that that's probably what the hole in the floor on the tea shop was for, just to sort of get up there. A suggestion of a way to get up, which is interesting. And yeah, there's a little bookshelf, which we'll actually have to pull out and talk about. The bookshelf actually contains 2 spinner cards from like the original Ninjago spinner cards that they've included in a couple of Ninjago sets. You have Spitta here and Whiplash, though Whiplash is actually using his legacy design. Though I did check, and the stats that are displayed down here are consistent with the original character cards for these 2. So that's a super awesome detail, though it is a little annoying that it's so hard to access these cards. As you can kind of see, I kind of had to break the bookshelf a little bit to get to them, but it's still a very, very cool little reference nonetheless. You may have noticed there's sort of a trap door down here with a little human handle, and that is for something that's actually on the base of the set. That trap door, when connected to the set, will lead you down to this little area here, which has another little gold statue, a green sword. I think these are just supposed to be steps sort of down to it. And then this little box right here, which actually says in Ninjago Easter egg on it. It literally says Easter egg. So I guess this is an Easter egg. Inside of this little box, there's just a trans green 1x1 tile. Not super sure what that is supposed to be. Maybe a tracker of some sort. I'm not sure if that's trying to reference something very specific from the show, but there you go. There's your Easter egg, the one and only. And connecting Ronan's shop on there, you can see, if I flip that up, how those stairs would work. Putting the tea shop back on, that will do it for the old world, or the lowest level of this set. And yeah, there's a lot of great detail, but we can only go up from here. Taking a look at the middle floor here, this is the street level if we're going by the Ninjago City names of things. And yeah, there's the upper half of the tree, you have an ice cream shop, and then you have Chen's Noodle House. Starting off with the tree, you can see that 10 Years of Ninjago print that's on there. It's the same one that's in all the legacy sets, as well as the same one that is on the Golden Woo stand. And yeah, I mean, the tree looks really nice. It's sort of the same, it's a very similar construction to everything that was below it, but it still looks really, really good, so I can't fault it for that. Running along all of the advertisements out here. You have this interesting build right here that's on a snowflake. This one right here says AO5 renovation. Not sure what AO5 is, but it's a renovation company. Then this doesn't have any text on it, but it's the Prime Empire logo, and then there's some blank unprinted game controllers next to it. Those are awesome pieces. There's a couple more of them in the set, but there's two here. They look great. So I guess it's a Prime Empire ad. So this is post Unigami taking over the world, I guess. Then here it says toy. That's in English. And then this is the Hands of Time logo. So I'm not sure what they're advertising here. Again, I guess they're good now or something, but yeah, there's the Hands of Time logo on there. Back here, this says museum with an arrow pointing up the stairs, which we'll get to in a second. Moving around to this side, this one says Znap, which was a Lego theme. So Z-N-A-P, Znap. This says Crab Shop, which could be a reference to the crab restaurant that was in Ninjago City, or it's just another one. This one right here is interesting. It says Folofo, F-O-L-O-F-O, which might be falafel. Not really sure on that one, but it says Folofo. This is an ad. It sort of looks like an Mtron logo right there. And then this is a drill with Rock Raiders next to it. So the Rock Raiders Lego theme has a little Easter egg in this set. Over on the side, this says Chili House. So I'm guessing there's a chili restaurant somewhere. This says aquarium with a fish. And then all the way on the back here, we have another interesting one. This says MA, but there's, I'm guessing those are initials, and then like Sandhoop or something. I'm guessing that's the design. Again, somebody who worked on the set or the show, their initials and name. Not too sure on that one. But then, yeah, looking around the rest of it, you can sort of see how it's built up. Basically, it's kind of wobbly, like this way, just because there's nothing really to reinforce it in the middle here. But I mean, it's not going to come apart necessarily. It's just kind of wobbly. You'll also see some lanterns around the whole thing, and these are built kind of differently with these train wheels. So they are loose, but I do really, really like that shape. And they're also a different color than the ones found in the Ninjago City and Ninjago City docks. But I mean, I'm okay with it. It's just different. And it's worth mentioning that sort of underneath here, there is a micro build of Jay's Stormfighter that sort of hangs down. When you set it down, it sort of hides in this little space. But then when this is sitting on the rest of the set, this actually is in the Ninjago fans' apartment as well. So they have Jay's Stormfighter sort of hanging from the ceiling. This does, however, break off a lot, so just, yeah, be careful. Mine does not like to stay on. Taking a look at Chen's Noodle House here, of course, we have that little minifig out front. And he has two bowls, and that looks really, really nice. You have a sticker here that says Best in the City. So I guess Chen has the best noodles in the city. Over here it says New Parmo, which might be short for like chicken parm, like Parmesan. Or I don't know if that's, I don't know. It's Parmo, but your guess is as good as mine on that one. Then you have this little bench out here, which is actually a really interesting build, and it's loose. So when you tip this upside down, this will fall off. But if you don't tip it upside down, you're fine. Then you have a little air conditioning unit up there. Flipping it around, you have a nice window here, and some more windows back here. And yeah, see, that thing just fell off. Oh, and now it's gonna cause me trouble. Okay. Yeah, so just be careful with that. And yeah, there's this really, really cool window back here, which is using two of those sort of on the 45 window door frames, and then there's just two of them. So it looks really cool. But then, of course, like all the other buildings in the set, this whole thing is sort of built on the 45. So yeah, there's just a lot of really, really interesting geometry happening there, which I do appreciate. The roof here is kind of an annoying build. It's using 1x1 clips and then the hot dog pieces in black. And yeah, you got a door here, you walk in, there's the little counter there, and there's sort of a menu up top here. So you can order sushi, the shrimp bowl, or the ramen. I would have loved if one of these referenced the puffy pot sticker, which was the dish that Dareth really liked, that he was trying to talk to someone about putting it back on the menu in season 4. But that's a pretty long word, so it probably wouldn't have fit. But there you go. This one also does sort of let you unhinge it using a bar down here and then a little clip right here. It sort of just snaps and then you can unhinge it, which is really nice. Back on the wall there's a really nice print mimicking that season 4 look that, you know, the Anachondrite cultists use all the time. And then there's only one table in the back, though I really do like the seating they have for that. And there's a little microfigure right here. I'm not sure who that is supposed to represent, but it's there. And then there's just a better look at the inside of that, and you have a little kitchen right there. But yeah, lots of great detail in here. Across from Chen's Noodle Shop, we have the ice cream parlor. It's actually called Ice Planet. And there's a better look at that sticker underneath there. This penguin is saying yummy. This says open. This one says museum. We already talked about that. And yeah, there's this staircase running up the back. And yeah, I really like this window out front. The roof here is using axe pieces, and that's an annoying build, but it looks really awesome when it's all done. Around the back, there's somebody dropped their ice cream cone, and there's more of those unprinted game controller pieces that they use as sort of a roof technique, which is really interesting. Then you have another air conditioning unit hidden behind here. And yeah, this staircase is, again, on the 45. And just looking at the bottom of this, like, wow. It's really quite impressive what they did with this set in terms of angles and stuff. This one kind of will snap apart. As you can see, there's that black piece. That's the only sort of clipped thing that's keeping these two halves together. But you actually can't really unhinge it without taking off the floor. So I won't be doing that, but I'll try my best to show you everything. Inside, you have a counter with a bunch of different ice cream. And yeah, there's just a lot of treats and things. There's a sink on the back, and there's a bunch of cones sort of in the window that you can see from the outside. There's a sticker with a little menu on the back there. There's a little sort of counter with another treat on there. But yeah, lots of really awesome detail in here, though again, it's a little difficult to really get in there and actually play with it, but you know, it's still cool. They provide you with enough ways to look at it, though you can't really adjust things. Back to the base. So on this side is the sort of removable balcony end cap to the street level. And actually on the other side, they have 3 technicals as well. So another alternative configuration is you can put that here. The set tells you to put it over here, but depending on how you want to arrange this in your city, and whatever other sets you connect it to, you can put it here and sort of have this little end cap here, which I really like that they paid attention to that. It just gives you more options for displaying this set. Putting the ice cream parlor on, it fits right here. And I mean, this isn't the prettiest, but if it's right next to something, then it's okay. And yeah, you can see how that all lines up. The gap isn't perfect. There is still a little bit of a gap right between the staircase and the rest of the walkway, but I mean, for what they're doing with angles, I think it works out pretty well. Though I will say that I feel like there should be another sort of railing right in here, just because that's like a pretty big gap that a minifigure could fall through. Putting Chen's back on here, and again, you'll see there's like an even bigger gap right here. They started a railing, but I just feel like they needed to keep going with that. But, oh well. And yeah, you can see that that bench actually kind of sits down right there. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Putting this section on, the rest of it is a little bit more tedious just because there's so much flex sort of in between the two halves that it's a little bit hard to line up. But if you if you just take your time with it, you'll definitely get it. They line up perfectly in the back there, so if you just pay attention to that, you can get it rather quickly. And also just make sure that this bottom tree, there's an axle sticking out of it. Make sure that that goes in the right hole. I actually had it wrong the first time, but there's one where it sits pretty well. So just be careful of that. But yeah, that's how it looks. And now let's get on to the next floor. This top floor here, you get the museum, and then this little artist's apartment, this little Zen garden up top, and then the ninja zone, and then the Borg control tower. Taking a look at the outside here, this piece of railroad track does lay flat when you have it on top of the rest of the thing, but it comes up so that this section can lay flat, which is nice. Again, I love how the back is completely furnished, and this hole right here is actually where the staircase next to the ice cream shop comes up. So I love that that is sort of just so deeply integrated into the set. It's really cool. But taking a look at just the museum first, outside we have this sticker which says Dragon Grill, so I guess it's an ad for a restaurant again. And then there's the crab right here. Not really sure why, but there is. And yeah, and I'm actually going to remove this middle wall. It's pretty securely in there, but it's not attached by that many studs, so you can remove it pretty easily. Inside you will see the Destiny's Bounty, and then there's a Serpentine staff. Behind Misako here is a sticker with the Serpentine War, when Crux and Necronix betrayed them. Though it's generic enough that it could kind of be anything, but it is something from that time period. In this cabinet here, there's a red microfigure and then a little compass down there. Generic parts, nothing too fancy. And yeah, on this end of the museum we have the Realm Crystal in a little display cabinet. That's an awesome reference. There's another sort of map on the wall. Kind of hard to tell what it is, but it's something. There's pictures of, I guess, explorers here. I don't know if those are meant to be specific characters, but they are certainly there. And then here you have a little, I guess, like postcard display. And then actually behind it, you have a micro Temple of Irjitsu set, which is awesome. Using that hot dog as the bridge. Looks really good. Then you have a little sort of kiosk for people to walk through using a plant piece. And that's a really nice part usage there. So I appreciate that. This thing is just packed with references, and I really like that about it. Speaking of references, on the back wall here, on the back of it, you get a picture of the Great Devourer, you get Sensei Yang and the Yin Blade underneath, and this is using a really interesting building technique where there is a chest piece with a piece of glass snapped into it instead of the top of the chest, which is just wild. And then a picture of Rei and Maya over here. Really awesome stuff. I do love how accurate this is, because that's such an important part of Day of the Departed, and having Sensei Yang's portrait sort of above the Yin Blade, even though the Yin Blade is just that dragon hilt piece. Though I don't know how they would have fit anything else in that space. Moving over to the artist's apartment. Inside you will see a sort of painted image of Ninjago City Gardens on there, which is awesome. And yeah, there's some flowers. I do like that build for the little umbrella holder. And actually on the TV here, you will see there's Gale Gossip, and that the characters down there say NG for NGTV. And that's really awesome. There's a bed with some paint underneath it, and then the door to the balcony here, which is also removable. Though in some configurations you end up just getting a door sort of leading directly onto a roof, which is a little weird, so just be careful of that. Between the buildings here, there's another ad, and this is actually on the back side of the Serpentine War poster, and these both come off fairly easily, and you can actually sort of dig through them, which is, I guess, how CC broke into the museum. On this poster, facing the wall, is maybe one of my favorite in the whole set. This has Mega Monster Park, or also known as Mega Monster Amusement Park, from the first couple seasons of Ninjago. Super awesome. We've never gotten any indication of that place in any set before, so that's a really cool reference. But yeah, there's some interesting sort of green colors going on. I like these windows. And yeah, it's really cramped, but again, that's kind of all over this set. We'll actually take a look at this little Zen garden next. So this, I guess, they're calling it like the rooftop Zen garden. You got some interesting roof techniques here, and you can see Cece there with a stolen jewel on her hover bike, I guess. And Kai is there to stop her. And yeah, this is a really interesting build, sort of having like a little bit of grass in there. I like the table in there, and these are using the tops of treasure chest pieces for the roofs, which is awesome. There's a reference to the episode Ninja Roll from season 4 with an orange helmet that was recently recolored for like an orange spaceman in a book, and then there's skates next to it. So it's the roller derby on Chen's Island in Tournament of Elements, which is just so cool that they did that. Flipping it around, there's this little vault right here with just like a teal cheese slope in it. Not really sure what that's a reference to, or if that's just like Cece's hideout or something, but it's there. It's interesting, I guess. And this fits on right here on the museum. And it's a little interesting because there's sort of a suggestion of a ladder here, but I guess you have to sort of crawl over this railing to get there. So if you're not a ninja, I don't know how you're supposed to enjoy this rooftop Zen garden, but you can't. Over on the other side, we have the ninja zone with this amazing looking fish hanging out of it and the Brickhead's glasses piece on it, which is pretty interesting. You got Cole in there playing video games, and you have this sort of hidden entrance where you spin this gear, and then the ladder drops down and also stops blocking the doorway, which is pretty cool. Right here, you have a poster for Space Police. That's what it says down there, and that's pretty cool. There's a telescope, and there is a arcade cabinet in there, but you do also have a picture of the ninja family, but it's missing Kai, which is a little questionable, but I'll ignore it. And he's playing Prime Empire. You can see a red visor in there and a avatar holding a katana. Cole also gets this little comfy chair, which is a really cute build, and that swivels a little bit. There's also this hat rack holding a hat, and then there's this arcade cabinet, which comes out pretty easily. This is Street Ninja 2, and yeah, it looks really cool, and they actually managed to put a little bit of a function in here where if you basically push this down, the ninja behind the glass pops around, and mine actually just got stuck, which happens from time to time. But yeah, you can sort of play the game, I guess, and defeat the Great Devourer. And that ninja on there is a print on a 1x2, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's a really cool little function, though it does get stuck from time to time if you like push it up too far, I think. So just be careful with it. This whole area slots on to the museum right here. And flipping it around here, you can see sort of how you would lower the ladder down, and then you could climb up it. There's also railings along here that are using handcuffs in black, as well as there's some flowers kind of everywhere. And yeah, it's a pretty cool little area. In the middle section here, you get the roof of the museum, which is this dome, which looks super museum-y. And that's using a bunch of clear round pieces and some really interesting building techniques. And there's also this little bonsai tree here, which contributes to the Zen garden. And yeah, there's Unikitty tails in this like flame orange color. And yeah, inside there's actually a skeleton of a flying thing. And this was actually seen in the show. So that's pretty awesome. And that just slots on right there. It's not like really stuck down at all. It's more just kind of fitting because everything is built on weird angles. But yeah, there is the museum, and you get a nice little tree. And I love that dome piece on there. It's it's really, really cool, even if it is a bit fragile. Finishing off the upper floors, you have the Borg control tower. This thing is really, really tall. Obviously, the top is just kind of an antenna, and I have Zane on there. But this thing's actually supposed to come apart as well, though it's kind of difficult to do so. Basically, this bottom half here does sort of come off, and inside there's actually storage. You get a J suit, which they didn't advertise, but you do get a J suit without a face. So you can swap J in there, and you also get to store the other posters here. Here's kind of a shark one that says Terror Aqua Sharks. There's kind of a metallic shark there. The other one says Adventure Island, and then down here it says Coming Soon, and there's a little Johnny Thunder reference for you. It's cool that these can sort of just hide in here, but you can also almost see them through just the grating on here, which is nice. I will say, though, that this is really, really hard to sort of get out of here. As you can see, I was kind of struggling to actually take off this upper section, which has now completely come off, which is wonderful. This upper section sort of fits on, and it's kind of tilted in order to give this really, really cool effect with these big teal pieces, which I do like. It's kind of hard. I don't know. This attaches better than it's maybe supposed to. So that's the only thing there. That happens to me a lot, and it's fine. It's just kind of annoying. Then the antenna comes off of there, and you actually get to the control tower part, where you have a little chair in there, and then a control tower. You have a map of Ninjago, and you have Pythor and Cryptor there, and some controls. That Ninjago says alert on it. It's a really, really small space, and I would love to see a window in here, so you could actually enjoy that little sticker detail from the outside, but you can't. That's kind of a bummer, but it looks good from the outside. Then you can just put the top back on. And yeah, it's kind of hard to do so. That's the thing. Some of the things in this set are just kind of tedious to remove. Like it feels like a mock sometimes, instead of an official Lego set where it's just like really easy to sort of break off into sections. And I guess that compromises had to be made just because of how sort of wild the angles are in this set, but I don't know, it is kind of unfortunate. Like, I don't want to go look at the stickers in here or look at the J because, like, it's just kind of annoying to do so. Putting this top piece back on, it sits like that on the Ninja Zone, and yeah, it's just really, really tall. And now, of course, the moment you've been waiting for, putting that last top section on top of the previous one. And I'm not going to lie, this feels really, really dangerous. I think I got it. Maybe? There we go. I forgot to mention on the museum door, there's another compass piece and a sticker that says enter. But yeah, you can just see how pretty this whole thing looks. And you can even sort of see the tree from here because they left it open. But yeah, this thing is massive. It's full of Easter eggs. I think this would work super well as its own set, but they didn't stop there because they gave us even more stuff in this set. Temple Island. So here is Temple Island, and yeah, it's just this little 16 by 32 base plate here. It connects, with the modular connections, just like everything else. And yeah, it's just a small little temple build. And honestly, this would be a great little set by itself, and it really feels like it's a mock. It feels like this is custom Lego. But yeah, you got this little pagoda with some rock work down there, and these bridges. Which come out here, and there's two of them, so this is sort of not really meant to be an end cap, just because the sidewalk stops, but then it sort of restarts over here, but that's fine. And of course, we have to talk about the titanium ninja figure in the back here. So this is kind of a legacy version of that statue, so it's using the new recolor of Zane's hair, and then this armor piece, which is from Star Wars. So not the original that would have made this proper. It's a shame that we didn't get the mask in gray with this, because I still want that so I can make an accurate original season 3 one, but it's still cool that they chose to include this in this set. And I love these pillars behind him. It just looks super, super good. But yeah, I love the flowers and just the texture that they kind of got just building up the island. And of course, all of the different colors underneath the water. And these sort of flower lily pads are awesome. Yeah, just the whole thing is just, it's so nice to look at. There's nothing to like do here really. It's all just in how it looks, and it's really, really cool that we got this. This attaches to the city pretty simply. The recommended way to do it is just on the side here. Again, lining up the technicals. And yeah, the sidewalk from here kind of continues, and there is no sort of upper street to this section, making it the first part of Ninjago City to not sort of continue that. But you do get these end caps here, which will overhang onto this base plate. And I think that gives it some really, really, really nice look there. So here are some of the minifigures. First off, we have young Lloyd, and this is really cool using that Legacy 1 torso. So nothing new there, and then the same head that was in the Destiny's Bounty. But the big deal here is that this hairpiece, this is the first time that this hairpiece has been in this color, which is accurate to the show. So you can throw this hairpiece on like a 2012 Green Ninja and also use the short legs, and you'd have a show accurate Green Ninja from that era. So that's super awesome. Love to get that hairpiece in that new color. Then you have Kai and Zane, and these are, again, the same exact figures from the Destiny's Bounty, and also, I mean, if you get rid of the shoulder armor, then they're just the same from, like, all the Legacy stuff, so I have, like, a million of these already, but they're still, they're nice. The same faces that we've seen since the Ninjago movie, and, yeah, nothing super revolutionary here. Urban J, Urban Nia, and Urban Cole, so Urban J is now getting that sort of sweatshirt that we've seen a lot in the show. So it's these stickers are not in the show, but there's a little smiley face and then a lightning bolt. But it's still really, really cool to get that. He's holding some flowers he picked for Nia. And again, same head that we've seen forever, but cool to get a new torso print. This is Nia. Same torso print from the Ninjago movie sets. Same head, same hair. But, a worthy inclusion, and these two can go on a date. Then we have Urban Cole, who's got a new torso with that guitar print and these pants, which are pretty rare. I don't know if they're new, but they're rare. And then his hair. On the back there, you have Tour. Yeah. There's his other head, but you've seen this before. It's also worth mentioning again that you do get a sort of blank Legacy set of robes for Jay. I would have loved to see them do the same thing for Nia and Cole, so we get at least all the ninja in their suits, but they didn't. They just did it for Jay, which is kind of weird, but yeah, and then you get like a trans neon head, but you can put the J head in here and just have a regular Legacy J. Next we have Misako, Clutch Powers, and Ronin. So this is our second Misako, though the torso is actually different this time from the one in the Temple of Air Jitsu. And it looks really, really good. There's her other head as well. Clutch Powers, this is the same figure that was in that minifigure pack from last year, which I think you can still get, so I don't know. But it's cool that he's still in this. Same head where he's got the eye patch and then where he's lifting it up. I would have loved to get a Clutch Powers face without the eye patch completely, so you can make an accurate Clutch Powers from the 2010 movie, but we didn't get that. And then he has the satchel on the back as well. The one in the minifigure pack had a utility belt and didn't have this satchel, this bag, so it's a little different, though it's just pieces you could have gotten other ways. This Ronin is new for Legacy, our first Legacy Ronin. Really awesome to see this character show up again. Love the detail on the torso, and it even continues on the back. No alternate face for him. You get that green mask, and that's his face print. Then you have the mechanic and Cece, and this is our first mechanic figure. It's got this crazy, crazy long weapon. But yeah, there he is. And it's super awesome to finally get him in minifig form. I love his head printing, his torso printing is great, and dual molded legs, which is awesome. Though his arm is supposed to be a little more mechanical than this, so it's kind of a shame that they didn't go all out with this guy, but I think it might have required new pieces, which is probably why they didn't. Then you have Cece, who is, I guess, one of the mechanic's goons in the set. She's sort of breaking into the museum and stealing a crystal, I guess. And yeah, she looks pretty good. Not sure if that's a new print or if that's been used in City before, but it looks proper nonetheless. Now we get into citizens. So these are just randomly named characters that aren't really from the show, but they're so cool. This is Christina. She has that Lloyd torso, and it says Lloyd on the back. And she does have a alternate face there. This is Hai, who runs the Ice Planet ice cream shop. So he's got a proper torso for that. No alternate head because it would show through, but some nice torso printing. Then we have Eileen, who I guess is supposed to be the art student. She has a pretzel. Yeah, pretty basic, but you know, just more minifigures for like random city stuff is great. Next up is Kaido, May, and Tito. Probably Tito, I don't know. Kaido, kind of a working man. He's got a phone print and a briefcase, and yeah, love his hair. And yeah, then May, who works in the soup kitchen, she's kind of got her own gi going on there, and sort of the purple hair, which is awesome. And yeah, nice prints, though she's afraid because the soup's burning, or she is in a fight, I don't know. Then she's got another bowl. And Tito has a VHS, because kids these days do in fact know what VHS tapes are. I love his torso print there with like kind of the sound levels. Pretty generic kid head, but yeah, cool guy nonetheless. Then lastly, we have Scoop, who is sort of a made-up trash cleaner robot, and this is actually using the like baby carriage piece from City, but it's upside down. You can kind of see it there, so it almost looks like the head of like a micro like AT-AT Walker or something from Star Wars. So I don't know, like just something with like eyes, and it also kind of moves back and forth because of that. Just the way it's built, which is interesting. And he has a construction hat, but it's not really on his head. I don't know. Made up character though, it looks pretty cool, but he does break pretty easily just because of how he's built. Then Sensei Wu's dog, who is just a regular husky. And yeah, this is sort of a callback to a possession set where we had Sensei Wu's dog, even though Sensei Wu's never had a dog in the show, but Sensei Wu's dog. Then of course we have Golden Sensei Wu, and yeah, minifigure stand is using gold because I guess he doesn't really have an element. And then of course you have the figure itself. Comes with a gold staff, and yeah, I love the detail on this guy. You even have sort of some back hair printed on, which is something I would love to see in regular Sensei Wu figs. You get the beard piece in gold, which is really, really cool. And taking that off, that's what he looks like underneath. And yeah, this guy's selling for a lot if you don't get the set, but I don't know. It's weird to me because like if you're a fan of Ninjago, it's a really cool one to have, but I feel like it's not really something that you would want to go out of your way to get. Like if you weren't going to get the Gardens, but you still wanted to get this figure, like I don't know. It's not a reference to the show, so it's fine to me. It's really cool, but I don't know. I wouldn't say make sure you get this even if you don't have the Gardens. Like if you're gonna get the Gardens, you'll get this, and if you don't have the Gardens, then like you don't need to get this. Just get the Gardens. And it's not like they're going to not have him in the Garden set at some point. Like they'll stop selling the Gardens with this figure. So like if you just ever get the gardens, you'll get this. But yeah. This set has 3 instruction manuals. The first one basically takes you up to the bottom of the street level before you build any buildings. The second one, you go through the museum, and then the third one, you build the roof of the museum and everything above. And also Temple Island is in this one. So it's super fun. I kind of like it when there's one instruction manual, just because it's so thick. But I mean, I get it, and there's sort of 3 levels, so there's 3 of them, kind of like they did in the first set. You also get, and this was not revealed ahead of time, which I really appreciate, you get this poster, which is drawn by Joshua Deck, who is a longtime fan in the Ninjago community, and it's just so cool that they put this in here. It's just kind of like the whole set is just a love letter to the fans, and I love that so much. So Josh, if you're watching this, this is really, really cool, and this is going up on my wall. The set also comes with a bunch of extra pieces, which you see here. And yeah. Well, there you have it. I think that's probably my longest video on the channel, and there it is, Ninjago City Gardens. 10 years of Ninjago. They released this set to celebrate, and what do I think? I think it does an amazing job. There's a lot of kind of callbacks to old Ninjago stuff, particularly in the museum, but then as well as like Chen's Noodle House, just being sort of an iconic location. You have the Zane statue, Ronin's shop, but then you also have like stuff to future Ninjago with the sort of season 14 sets in the apartment. They can't go much more into the future than that, probably, which is understandable. But who knows? Maybe the ice cream shop will show up in future Ninjago seasons, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's in a set." So there's a lot of really, really cool stuff in here. Some compromises had to be made. Obviously, the Ninjago Museum in the show is its own building. Same with Chen's Noodle House, but you know, to go with this Ninjago City style that they sort of went for with the movie, I think that it works really, really well, and it makes for much, much more visually interesting sort of display pieces, as well as you're able to do a lot more with fewer parts just because you're building these small little boxes and then just building them up into a giant sort of city block as opposed to like one building. I much prefer this over them giving us a $300 Ninjago City museum set that's only the museum and not the other stuff, because this is just so great. If you're a Ninjago fan, please buy this. Like, do yourself the favor. Get this set, build it. Even if you don't have the other 2, which you'll probably really, really want after you build this, but just do it. You will not regret it. There's just so much here for you, and it will just make you so happy. Now, I do have some complaints about this, and most of that just comes down to the structure of it. So a place that this set excels at, where the Ninjago City Docks didn't, is this thing plays with angles like crazy. The whole museum is built on the 45, and I don't know, just all the buildings down here have like a weird wall, and there's just so much going on here that crazy angles, it looks so visually interesting. However, it makes the whole thing really kind of structurally, it's not as stable as I'd like it to be, especially when taking it apart. And when you're putting it back together, it's kind of difficult to make sure everything's aligned. I think because, particularly Ninjago City, because it was also a corner, Ninjago City had buildings sort of in the corner where this one has a tree. And those buildings provided extra structure to the whole thing, making it much easier to take floors off and then put them back down. So it's just a little bit more tedious to sort of open this up and, show it to people or just look at it again, because there's so much detail inside, but it's almost hard to get to and hard to appreciate, just because the whole thing is kind of unstable. But that being said, again, it kind of had to be that way just because of all of the crazy geometry that they have going here, and it still looks so good as it does, and I can't really fault it for that. So that is a criticism I have, but it's not really a complaint. Like it would be a much better set if it was just a lot stronger, but I also don't care. Like, I don't think that that's a reason to not buy this, is because it's unstable. Like, you buy this because it's just amazing. Another area I have some complaints though is the minifigures. We got some cool ones. The Woo is cool. The mechanic is awesome. Getting a new Misako, the young Lloyd hairpiece finally. But I feel like for the 10th anniversary set, they should have given us more. Like, we just got regular versions of Kai and Zane that we've gotten a million times before. Why not give us new versions of those? There's so many suits that the ninja have been in over the years in the show, and it would have been awesome to get something from the show as opposed to a new creation that they just came up with. The new stuff is cool, but there's such a back catalog of stuff that we haven't gotten yet that it's kind of annoying that they're focusing on new stuff rather than sort of filling in the blanks. I do feel like Borg Tower could have been better. The middle section feels kind of wasted. It's like a storage area, but there's so much empty space inside of it. The other sets had much sleeker solutions to storing the extra posters. Basically, Borg Tower like built up this entire interior room just for 2 posters and then a minifigure. I don't know. I would have liked, maybe if there were just windows in there and there was some more detail, I would have liked that. But for all that being said, it's so cool that we got this. I love that it's sort of an end cap, so you can put it on the end and sort of finish off your city. I do understand why they sort of mirrored the temple the way they did, because then you can rearrange that. But I would have also liked that just to finish, where you don't have this second bridge coming off. So I think when I modify this set to put it in my city, I will honestly just remove that. So the temple is just the end of that sidewalk as well. But I mean, that's a small thing that I can just do myself. You know, it's Lego. I can just do that if I want to. Do I like this set better than Ninjago City and or Ninjago City Docks? I've thought about this a lot, and the answer is yes. This is my favorite of the 3. While it's not as unique and original as the original Ninjago City, it does what I wanted that set to do so much more of, which was give us Easter eggs from the TV show, give us things we haven't gotten before. This Ninjago City was kind of it was a Ninjago movie set, so we got a lot of references to the movie, which was fine, because that's what it was. But this, being a legacy set, being about the TV show instead, you know, we get the Rey and Maya poster, we get the Day of the Departed stuff, we get, you know, the maps of Ninjago, we get Chen's Noodle House, we get Ronin's shop, we get the Zane statue, we get just all of these things that were actually from the TV show. And it's so cool being a longtime fan and finally getting some of these. We get the Realm Crystal, you know, like a lot of this stuff is so cool. So yes, I do like this set better than Ninjago City and Ninjago City Docks. I love that this came out on the anniversary of Ninjago. It kind of just made such a bigger community event than it would have been already, because aside from everyone releasing their projects, this set came out and, you know, you got everyone like ordering it or going to their Lego store to go pick it up. And that was just a really fun experience. It was fun to be a part of that. But yeah, that is all I want to say about this behemoth of a set. It's absolutely massive and gorgeous, and I love it so much, even though it's really fragile. So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you like this and you're new, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not new, make sure you hit that like button anyways, because it really helps out the channel. And with that, I will see you in the next video, where we'll be putting this in my city, which is going to be so amazing. So make sure you're subscribed. Okay, until then, take care. Bye.